I play Megan Forrest. I am ex-military, a cop who, through a series of events, ends up quitting the force and gets really turned off about the force. And then she ends up in this whole situation out here being hunted, and goes through a lot of loss and hardship and growth and challenges, and does her thing. I was like, this is perfect. When I first was auditioning for this role, I was like, wow. I was like, this is a really good fit. And I was obviously really happy when Greg agreed that it was a good fit. But I'm very, very similar to this character in some ways. Obviously, I'm not a police officer, I'm not ex-military, but when it comes down to it, like, I have been in the same emotional places. I have been on the same journey. I've been on similar journeys, equal journeys. And the way she deals with the world around her and thinks the world sees her, I find very similar to myself. So there's a scene where I wear a ghillie suit, and it was just my favorite. This whole sequence that has it's like a fight scene, and then the ghillie suit, and then lots of guns and lots of different weapons. And this was a really fun scene because it was really action-packed. It was so bizarre to wear a ghillie suit. I felt like a big green swamp monster in it, but it ended up looking so cool, and like that was an experience. I got to shoot a bow for the first time, and realized that I like loved it, which was really cool. And getting to fight the character Caleb was it was an experience. It was exhausting. The day before we blocked it all out, and we blocked it for like 2 hours. So the next day I was like, oh, I am sore. And then we get into it, I'm like, oh, this hurts. All right, let's do this. And obviously you get into it and we had to start and stop, obviously, for makeup. But you're going full force the moment the camera's rolling. So all the soreness was just rolling over into like the new energy I was using to sell this fight. And that was a really awesome and tiring and satisfying day. So working with Greg was awesome. It was really awesome. It went as well as it could have gone, in my opinion, in terms of you never know what working with someone's going to be like if you've never worked with them before. You know who they are from the times you talk, and we had a lot of discussions leading up. We had a lot of calls, we had read-throughs, like in-depth discussions about the project, but actually sitting down and seeing eye to eye with someone, getting to know the way they viewed the project and they viewed, your role in this project, we ended up seeing eye to eye on everything, which was such a blessing because it's not always the case. So every time he has a note, I pretty much agree with it 100%, was already thinking about it. I'm like, I'm so glad you said that because I was gonna say, so I'm very thankful in that sense that we see eye to eye with how the character behaves and should be perceived. And then he's, very, very relaxed on top of it. He's very funny, and patient with all of the people on set that he's mentoring and teaching. So he'll be in director mode, and then he'll stop. And it's the most patient I've ever seen someone teach on set. Because usually when I was taught on set, different jobs, people are like, okay, you do it like this and this. And he's like, all right. So what you should be doing as this role, it's the most level-headed thing I've ever seen. I'm like, you have so much patience. So it's been just a pleasure. Yeah. I have shot a lot of guns. So my brother is in the military, and he's like 13 years older than me. So he was kind of like a big father figure for me growing up, and every time I would be with him, since he joined the military at like 2021, he's been super into showing me different guns, how to shoot. I remember shooting his like sniper rifle, which was the most terrifying thing, but awesome. And I never thought, I would never have that experience without him. He exposed me to like all that stuff. He exposed me to flying. He would take me up in the gliders. He would take me on the four-wheelers, and I would just go nuts and give myself a black eye or something stupid like that. So a lot of my like fun action-packed experiences like shooting guns happened with my brother. And I'm super thankful for that, because I don't look like an absolute idiot, I don't think, I hope not, in this movie. So for the emotional scene in this film, everyone has their own method to get to these places. For me, this was a very easy moment to kind of dissolve into, because it is tragic. And when people watch it, they will feel that moment of, everyone's been alone. Everyone's felt like they were just gonna be alone, because there's something about being alone that feels like it traps you in that moment. And I said okay to that feeling of, which is where Megan is in that moment, where she doesn't know if she'll ever see anyone she would like to see again. And that is heartbreaking. And we've all had, may it be just a little glimpse of that moment, we've all had that moment of feeling alone and feeling helpless. And it was very easy to rationalize that in my head. I don't pull on real things. I don't necessarily like to pull on real things because I find it damaging. And in a way, I pulled on some real general feelings, but it came from the situation of what her character was in. She's lost her best friend. She's lost these really good people that she knows are just good people. And she knows that she may never see her family again, or anybody ever again. And the feeling of knowing that people have lost you is almost worse than the idea of you being lost, of you know, dying, or you anything. Just imagining your family going through that experience and having to stand at your funeral, or stand in a police officer's or police department and say like, we can't find her. That's terrifying. So I just said yes to all of those ideas because I think it was already well written and very easy to connect to for people. And the rest did its job. I love Trazz. He is so awesome, so funny, so nice, so relatable, and it's so good. You know, he's perfect for the role too. So we immediately hit it off, and it was like we'd been friends forever. It felt, I was just like, we are now best friends, and we will now work on everything together. And I think that really helped with our on-screen chemistry as well. Being best friends, that we got along so well. He's very talented, very gifted, and a hustler, and I totally respect him. Shooting outdoors, I love the outdoors, but one of the most challenging parts of it is how unpredictable the weather can be. Especially because this film, after we hit the big hunt, it takes place over the course of one day. So, you know, we're shooting this over weeks, and it's supposed to be over one day, so you get one rainy day, and you're like, oh no, we can't do this. What is it, just rain for 10 minutes? Like, where are we right now? But we've been very fortunate in the sense that there was one day when we were doing pickups that it rained for like 2 hours and then it stopped and then the sun came out. We were like, and ultimately it would have been okay if it rained as long as it rained the whole time. But you can't count on that. So we were just like, okay, well hopefully if it rains, it's just gonna rain every day and it's just gonna be the muddiest movie ever. But we were really lucky with that. Also, the bugs. The bugs. I've never put so much bug spray on in my life. And like, I didn't know that there were like natural bug sprays and like people had opinions about bug. I didn't know that that was a thing because people have opinions about bug spray being like unnatural and bad for you. And I'm like, as long as they don't bite me, I don't care. Like, I put worse things in my body than this. Like, yeah, I think those are the worst. Also, anytime you're like battling sunlight, which we haven't really done much. The one day when I was shooting the scene with Preacher, we did one golden hour. So we were like chop chop because the sun starts going down very quickly once you hit golden hour. But it's been really beautiful most of the time, and like we're in this awesome park for a lot of it with like streams, and it's just like a fairy tale.